indicate that his name cannot be found on the roll of lawyers in Ghana and that he never signed the matriculation book at the law school. He is therefore asking the court to, among others, bar Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo from holding himself out as a lawyer qualified to practice in Ghana and close down his law firm. The NPP flag bearer, through his lawyers, have also since dismissed the allegations. Speaking on Joy News' top story earlier, a member of his legal team, Kwame Kufu, described the allegations as serious but said they will be adequately dealt with. But the Greater Accra president of the Ghana Bar Association, Frank Davis, says the claim cannot be true.
What other reason would someone say that Nana Akufo-Addo has not been called to the Ghana Bar, or for that matter, he is not a lawyer in good standing and cannot practice in our courts? I mean, I think we should elevate the political discourse to another level. I mean, this is a bit childish. A man who was called to the English Bar, he was indeed called to the Middle Temple in 1971. He was called to the Ghana Bar in 1975. He has his name recorded in the roll of lawyers in Ghana. This is someone who has been president of the bar, of the Greater Accra Bar. Do you know what that means? A man who elevated himself to the platform to the extent that he was going to be president of the National Bar. And for some reason, they had to step down from Mr. Sambukuja to be president of the Ghana Bar. This attempt to tarnish people's image. I mean, I think you see, I am speaking in my capacity as president of the Greater Accra Bar, and I think this does not do good for our profession.
Well, police have confirmed they have launched investigations into the cause of the accident involving the NPP vice presidential candidate in the December election, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, last Sunday. Police sources, however, would not provide details of the investigation, stating more information would be made available soon.
Police investigations into the accident come after the opposition New Patriotic Party accused the ruling National Democratic Congress of attempting to assassinate their vice presidential candidate in the December elections, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. General Secretary of the NPP, Kojo Owusu Efriye, also known as Sir John, accused the ruling government of masterminding the accident. The NDC has subsequently denied the allegations through its General Secretary Johnson Esiedu Nketia. The accident occurred on the Boli Bamboy Road after the vehicle Dr. Bawumia was traveling in burst two tires, causing the vehicle to somersault several times. The MPP leader, who sustained minor injuries, has been treated and discharged by the doctors at the Leicester Hospital in Accra.
President John Mahama has denied reports the state is sponsoring a pilgrimage of selected pastors to Israel. The president, who was addressing the clergy at the Flagstaff House, explained the trip is a private initiative and that the funding is not from state coffers. The meeting was to discuss the upcoming national prayer and Thanksgiving Day.
This is a letter that went out, and I'll read it so that we all understand what it is. It said, "Dear Sir, pilgrimage to Israel." And the first paragraph is the most important paragraph. It says, "Government of the Republic of Ghana has secured sponsorship to take 200 Ghanaians from the Christian community on a pilgrimage to Israel." This states clearly that this is not financed by government. It's private sector organizations that says we'll be able to sponsor this. And so government was playing only a facilitative role. Unfortunately, the whole intent has been misunderstood, and it has created some negative, circumstances under which various church groups are writing and saying we don't want to participate. We respect the various organizations, but I wanted to clarify that it's not from the government purse, it's from private sponsorship, and we'll take what you want. If we should abandon it, we'll just tell the private sponsors that unfortunately the church groups are not interested in participating, and so either they deal directly with you, government will play no part in facilitating it or something. So I want to get your own idea about it. But let me explain clearly that it's not state-sponsored, it's not with the public purse, it's not using government's resources.
About 10 different Christian associations, including the International Association of the Clergy, the Pentecostal and Apostolic Association of Ghana, the Christian Council of Ghana, Women's Aglow, Council of African Indigenous Churches, Independent Churches Association of Ghana, as well as the National Catholic Bishops' Conference were represented. The annual prayer and thanksgiving service will be held on the 7th of April, and it is to be organized by a committee from the clergy who met with the president at the Flagstaff House. The president, however, used the opportunity to further assure the country about efforts to deal with the current crisis with electricity and water supply.
I want you to understand some of these issues so that it makes it easier for your congregations to understand. We have an energy problem which was caused by a disruption of the West African gas pipeline. And we have problems with water. Recently, some unions and workers groups have decided to withdraw their services. These are all issues that engages one's attention and cause you stress and sleepless nights. But I'm sure that with our continuous intervention, we shall overcome all these problems and our ship will sail on calmer waters.
Leader of the National Association of Christian and Charismatic Churches, Archbishop Duncan Williams, led the group to intercede for Ghana and the president.
And let all Ghanaians and the people of this country, irrespective of their religious background and persuasion and political persuasions, have access, equal sharing of the resources of this country.
The president further engaged them in a closed-door meeting to discuss issues affecting the country. Gifty Ando Apia, Joy News.
Please lift up your voice and let...
Meanwhile, members of the clergy are divided over the pilgrimage to Israel. A committee has therefore been set up and tasked with the responsibility to decide on the trip. President of the National Association of Christian and Charismatic Churches, Archbishop Duncan Williams, spoke to Joy News after a closed-door meeting on the matter.
It's certain private companies that are sponsoring. It was specifically said that in order to ensure that the people who go will return and will not run away, the Israeli authorities did request that we should ask the government to partner with us in the area of ensuring that the people we bring forward, if the government partners with us, means that then the government will take some responsibility of ensuring that the people that are presented to the Israeli authorities for the visa are people that will come back. But a committee has been set up, giving the mandate to look into it and to decide whether or not to do it at this time, but it will definitely be done. But whether or not it should be done now or later, they will decide and then let us know. I think it's something that must be done, and I think it's just a matter of the time. Because of the hardship and everything that is going on in the country right now, the committee might decide to postpone it for another time.
The emerging oil and gas industry is believed to have the potential to transform the structure of the economy from the production and export of primary products to a diversified industrial economy. To ensure that this dream is fulfilled, an environmental baseline survey was carried out by the Environmental Protection Agency in some water bodies in the country. The results of this survey was disclosed at a meeting held earlier today.
With the advent of oil and gas in Ghana, there are general concerns that the new industry might pollute water bodies, as is the case in other countries. The Environmental Protection Agency, along with other organizations, undertook a strategic environmental assessment of oil and gas development in Ghana in order to establish and maintain good environmental conditions for the industry. Deputy Executive Secretary of the EPA, Samuel Anku, represented the Minister of Environment, Science and Natural Resources at a meeting in Accra to disclose the findings of the study. He said the study is the proof of government's commitment to ensure a clear understanding of what the relevant issues facing the industry are and also to enable a systematic approach of handling those issues.
The results of this survey, which we are disclosing today, would enhance the understanding of the nature and extent of how the offshore oil and gas activities can affect the marine ecosystem. The survey results will also contribute to valuable information, especially on the benthic communities, that's the sea bottom communities, and levels of contamination by hydrocarbons and heavy metals in the sediments.
A team from the Institute of Marine Research in Norway led the survey exercise. Among the discoveries made during the exercise were some strange sea creatures, which included the swimming sea cucumber. A member from the IMR team stated that the nation's coastal environment is in good condition and there is the need to educate people living close to those environments to keep it protected.
We hope that things will be stable, but to keep it stable, I think it's important to have a monitoring system and watch what is going on so that we can give a feedback to the companies and tell that it may be necessary to do adjustment of the procedure to protect the environment.
The survey also revealed that Ghana has a very important marine resource which needs to be protected.
Before this survey, we thought we had a dead coral reef which has died several years ago. But this survey has revealed that in the western part of the offshore environment of Ghana, we now have a coral reef, which is an important marine resource, which we'll have to protect. So that has brought, let me say, something that we will have to take steps, even in the international arena, to protect.
The monitoring exercise would be carried out every 3 years to ensure that conditions either remain the same or are improved.
We're taking a break now, but there's more news coming up. Business activities at the Walwale market were halted this morning following a rainstorm that hit the area last night, claiming 4 lives. More than 40 others are known to have also sustained various degrees of injuries.
This is the 4th rainstorm to have hit the region recently, leaving over 10,000 residents homeless. The traders who met their untimely death, according to the residents, had taken shelter under a shed at the Walwale market when an uprooted tree fell on the shed and crushed them to death instantly. Properties and buildings, including 3 schools, were destroyed and electricity supply to the town has been cut. A new school block, which was nearing completion, had its roof ripped off by the strong winds. Some of the victims who spoke to Joy News are appealing to government to come to their aid immediately.
Actually, all our rooms were soaked with water. All our valuables were really soaked, electronics, our books especially, and they were actually soaked. So all the rooms that we stay in have really been soaked. So
West Mamprusi District NADMO coordinator James Wunira Brima told Joy News there is little they can do now in terms of providing relief items to the affected victims since they do not have anything in their stores.
The report has to get to my regional office, that's in Tamale. Tamale will also forward it to Accra, and whatever relief items they will give or help they will give to the people affected, that's where it will come to us. Because in my stores, there is nothing. There's not even a gray of anything there. There's nothing.
DCE of the West Mamprusi District, Adam Yusuf, said the affected residents are in the interim finding shelter in the neighborhood.
The assembly is trying to do its possible best, particularly as far as the school is concerned, to see to it that people are back on their course, to ensure that teaching and learning is brought back to its normalcy. So
now, the police appear to have resumed a clampdown on commercial motorbike operators known as Okada. It follows the latest directive from the Transport Minister that the police should arrest the operators as well as their passengers. Head of the Motor Transport and Traffic Units of the Ghana Police Service ATP, Angwotoge Awuni, says a number of culprits have been arrested since the directive, but says some highly placed persons may be behind attempts to frustrate their clampdown. Marianne Toure has more.
Police say 76 Okada operators in Accra and an additional 67 in Tema have been arrested in the latest clampdown in the last 2 days. The impact of the clampdown was evident at the Kolebu Hospital bus stop, a hub of Okada operations. It was virtually deserted except for a few diehards.
We should be, setting some kind of standard within our own selves and then looking for some kind of people, even if we can even have a committee within among us. I think that committee will go in with a uniform which will actually help us to get the bad ones. If there are some people even on the street riding rough, I think we will know them. Those who ride rough and those who doesn't do the right thing at the right time. And then the government can actually use us to cause those guys arrest if really they are doing the wrong thing.
Samuel, a patron, also believes the law is unpopular.
I don't think they should be arrested for alienating because somehow or one way or the other, it has cut down unemployment in this country, and I think it's helping a lot. Because me, for instance, I like joining the Okada because it serves me a lot, and I think they should rather form some kind of stations for them so that they will rather operate instead of taking them out of the system.
Meanwhile, ACP Awuni says enforcement of the law has been a challenge because of vested interests.
The information that is even filtering to us is that people have stopped buying taxis and they are buying motorbikes because the cost of one car can buy 10 motorbikes. And the money they make out of the motorbikes far outweighs what they make out of taxis. So people are now leaving their taxis, polluting our air. The exhaust fumes and the cancerous nature of all these things must be taken into consideration. And I'm even told that there are some big people, influential people, who want to lobby and then take away the law just because they want to make money at the expense of the health of the citizens of this country. I think that is wrong.
He, however, assures the police will continue with the clampdown until they rid the streets of all the operators. A report by Marian Toure.
The Coalition of Concerned Teachers says it supports the ongoing strike by colleague teachers from the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and the National Association of Graduate Teachers, which started yesterday. The group at a news conference today says its members will also stay away from the classroom until the grievances over the emolument are addressed. The news conference is in apparent defiance of the National Labour Commission's directive for the teachers to return to work.
The coalition says its members have been directed to also lay down their tools to back demands for improved service conditions, restoration of reduced salaries, and resumption of negotiations on market premium.
And until those issues are resolved, Coalition of Concerned Teachers, we are asking our members that from today, 19th of March 2013, we are throwing our weight behind our sister unions, NAT and NAGRAT, in our forward march to redeem the teacher from the shackles of poverty. We are going to begin our strike from today. And this strike is indefinite until all the issues we have raised are resolved.
The group says since last year they have been agitating for better conditions of service and had exhausted all avenues, and that this time around they would not only resort to strikes but call for demonstrations as well.
We are going to start demonstrations across the 10 regions of Ghana. And we begin from Kumasi in Ashanti region on Friday. We will move to Tamale in the northern region the following week. We will move to Ho in the Volta region the following week. Onwards until we capture all the 10 regions of Ghana. We are going to demonstrate to the whole world that as teachers, we deserve the best.
It says the onus now lies on government to do its part because the Ghana Education Service has concluded its negotiations.
Well, as the teachers' strike continues, senior high schools have had to quickly put into action backup plans in order not to further disrupt scheduled end-of-term examinations. UN News visited some senior high schools in the capital to find out alternative measures that are in place for invigilation of terminal examinations.
At some of the schools visited, students were seen revising their notes in groups and in their classrooms. Accra High School, for instance, has already begun an end-of-term exams for senior high 1 and 2 students, even though school authorities admit it was challenging carrying out the examination due to the teacher strike. The school had to fall on national service personnel to invigilate. St. Thomas Aquinas Senior High School hopes to begin their end-of-term exams as soon as possible. The headmaster, James Dapper Samuel, tells Joy News, as an alternative, they are bringing on board some non-teaching staff to assist in invigilation.
We plan that now, in the absence of the teachers, fine. The headmaster, the assistant headmasters are there, they are working. So we should do something to assist the teachers. Should they come back, they have to start from somewhere. So at least you should have to get these exams written for them so that when they come back, they don't have to go back 3 weeks. And you have a way of just marking the scripts and then recording. So we've also talked to a few of the non-teaching staff to come and assist the headmaster and assistant headmasters to run. We have about 20 classes. And the 20 classes, if you talk to the students very well, they comport themselves very well. We may get even one invigilator taking 2 classrooms. That one will give us about 10. Because of internal examination, for the WASI, which tends to be external, we might need a larger number, maybe 2 people in a classroom.
He explains, since this was an internal examination, the school can exercise its own discretion on how to carry it out.
It's not a matter of taking a longer time. Examination that can be written 2 hours per paper can be cut down to maybe 30 minutes. And then we can also stick to writing on the board. It's an internal examination. We have so many methods of writing internal examination, and we have so many measures that we want to put in place. In case maybe the terrain tends to be more tougher for us, we resort to a different method.
Though the strike has disrupted the examination schedule, Mr. Asamoah sympathized with the striking teachers, stating they have the right to call for their better condition of service. He was, however, hopeful government will act quickly to prevent the impasse from affecting upcoming West African Senior High School certificate examinations, which both Form 3 and 4 students will be taking.
Still on the teacher strike, head teacher of the Wa Model Primary School, Warrant Officer retired Alhaji Ibrahim Salif, was defied the order given to teachers by the Ghana National Association of Teachers and the National Association of Graduate Teachers for their members to boycott the classrooms in demand for better service conditions. Speaking to Joy News, Alhaji Ibrahim insisted he is not an employee of NAT or NAGRAT and will only withdraw his service if the Ghana Education Service asks him to do so. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam files this report from WA.
Despite the decision by members of the National Association of Graduate Teachers and the Ghana National Association of Teachers to boycott classrooms in demand for improved service conditions and allowances, head teacher of the Wa Model Primary School, Warrant Officer retired Alhaji Salif Ibrahim, has stated that he sees no reason to join the bandwagon. His reasons are simple. He is not an employee of either of the 2 associations and will never take any instructions from them. He contends he is not a member of any of the associations because the Constitution of Ghana guarantees the right to join or not to join any association. Warrant Officer retired Salifu spoke to Joy News.
If GS says teachers should lay down their tools, we will do it. But if NAT and NAGRAT are saying it, it's an individual affair. Those who want to, most of the time, come to realize that the lazy ones are those who like to sit down. If you are energetic and you are, what do you call it, you are a nation builder, that is, you are patriotic, you will not want to embark on any of these things.
This is not the first time Warrant Officer Salifu has defied the orders of both the NAT and NAGRAT. In 2011, he single-handedly took pupils of the school to the 6th March rehearsal at the Nasir Gubomi II Park to the chagrin of his colleague head teachers who were striking for non-paid allowances. As the strike continues nationwide, many more head teachers like Warrant Officer Salifu are holding the fort at least to enable their pupils and students write their end-of-term exams. Rafiq Salam's report for Joy News.
And school children in the Brahaful region have appealed to government to address the concerns of their teachers to enable them return to the classrooms immediately. Nestor Kafui Ajoma's report.
Our crew visited Istikama Senior High, Kwasi Senior High Technical and Winchi Methodist Senior High Schools, among others. At the time of our visit, the students had just finished writing their end-of-term examinations for the day. Joy News learned the strike was minimal there because most of the teachers are national service personnel. Few teachers were seen outside the classrooms while students roamed the compound in all the other schools. Our cameras captured these students sleeping at the Winchi Methodist Senior High School whilst others played outside. The students admitted the nationwide industrial action by the teachers would adversely affect the performance of the final year students. They have therefore emphasized the need for government to dialogue with the various trade unions in the education sector and find lasting solutions to the concerns.
We are on our knees begging the president
that Mr. President and his cabinet will help us. So, Mr. President, we beg you.
We're just pleading to the government, the president in particular, so that so far as they are trying to increase the payments of the other workers, he should try very hard so that he can do something about the teachers.
The strike of our teachers is affecting the students, especially those who are in their final year. So we are appealing to the government and other authorities to come to our aid so that the teachers will come and teach us.
Meanwhile, some parents have pleaded with the government to act quickly to resolve the teachers' grievances to prevent any disruption to the academic calendar. Nesta Kafuya Jomes reports.
Okay, so whilst the students are appealing to the president is also appealing to the teachers to call off their strike whilst negotiations continue, describing the action as ill-timed. He made the appeal when student leaders from across the country called on him at the Flagstaff House today.
I'll use this forum to, now that I'm talking about teachers, to appeal to our teachers, to call off the strike and go back to the classrooms. I know that various groups of organized labor have different complaints that they have, but I think that the complaints are better dealt with in an environment of dialogue rather than an environment of intimidation. And often when that happens, it is the children who suffer. The timing is absolutely wrong. The children have started their exams, and we need the teachers there to guide them, not only to guide them, but also to invigilate the exams to ensure that the integrity of the examination process is not compromised. And I think that they should have a thought for that and put the nation's interest, above their own professional interests or personal interests, and go back to the classrooms while we get the Fair Wages Commission to deal with any grievances that they might have.
All right, we've been getting some reaction from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly that it squandered 1.4 million Ghana cedis on sitting allowance. It has, in a statement, described the figure as exaggerated. Now, I'll bring you excerpts of this the statement from the Assembly. It says, the Assembly does not doubt the number of subcommittees mentioned in the publication, but the amount mentioned as sitting allowances and lunch monies for subcommittees and General Assembly meetings have been exaggerated. Meanwhile, the report, it says, was silent on the existence of an executive committee. It says the publication mentioned 120 cedis and 15 cedis as General Assembly sitting allowance and lunch for Assembly members, 100 cedis and 15 cedis as subcommittee sitting allowance and lunch for members, and 120 cedis for the members of the Public Relations and Complaints Committee members. It is worth noting that Assembly members receive 80 cedis and 100 cedis for sitting allowances for subcommittees and General Assembly meetings respectively. For their lunch, the Assembly members are giving food packs including water worth 10 cedis and 15 cedis for subcommittees and General Assembly meetings respectively. The PRCC members do not collect 120 cedis, rather 100 cedis as sitting allowance. Furthermore, the statement says 35 cedis reported as being allowance given to Assembly members for attending funerals and other programs. It's false, and this clearly indicates the ulterior motives exhibited by the informer, because this amount is 45 cedis. For the records, the model standing orders of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly states in Part 1973, Clause 1, that the Assembly shall determine the allowances to be paid to the members of the Assembly in respect of A, attendance at meetings of the Assembly, meetings of the Executive Committee, or meetings of subcommittees, and B, any transport expenses actually incurred by any member of the Assembly in respect of the attendance at such meetings. It goes on to say that Article 18, subsection 1 of Act 462 strengthens this assertion that the emoluments of the Assembly members of the District Assembly shall, unless otherwise provided in this Act, be determined by the District Assembly and shall be paid out of the resources of the Assembly. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, nonetheless, is the largest assembly in the country with 116 Assembly members consisting of 86 elected members and 42 government appointees per the year under review 2012, before the La Sub-Metro was carved out to be established as La Dade Kotopon Municipal Assembly by LI 2034-2012. The Assembly wishes to advise reporters of the various media houses who are giving information about the Assembly to diligently cross-check with an Assembly for accurate reportage. And this statement is signed by Numo Blafo III. He's for the Chief Executive of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. So the statement from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is in reaction to a Daily Graphic report from Praise Republic report today, captioned AMA blows 1.4 million cedis on city allowance with some level of reservations. Now, contributions have started pouring into Joy FM ahead of this year's Joy FM Easter Soup Kitchen, the annual event, which is one of the station's major corporate social responsibility programs, affords members of the public an opportunity to donate food, clothes, as well as their time to make a difference in the lives of the underprivileged in society.
The annual Joy FM Easter Soup Kitchen, which has been running for more than a decade, has been perhaps the most successful charity collaboration between the multimedia group and its audience. Organizations have over the years come to see it as that one major opportunity to support the needy in society. Today's donation from the United Bank of Africa Ghana Ladies Forum included clothes and money.
We wanted to be a part of it and provide them with what we could do to support the underprivileged. Our bank is a global bank, extends across Africa, and once we identify an opportunity, we want to make the best out of it. That's how come we are supporting Joy.
Senior Sales and Marketing Manager for Radio and Interactive Media at Multimedia Group Limited, David Masfuga, noted this year's program would be an improvement on previous years.
Last year, we actually fed them, we clothed them, and then we paid medical or insurance premium for 1,000 of them. This year, we are planning to pay premium for 2,000 of the stray children in Accra so that they can have easy access to medical care. We still require lots of rice, bags of rice. We'll need pepper, we'll need tomatoes, we'll need the used clothing, we'll need sugar, we'll need beverages, we'll need frozen chicken, we'll need fish. Whatever it takes to feed people, we want to give them delicious meal. Okay, we want to give them delicious. Whatever it takes, we need those things. So, once again, if you are out there and you are yet to respond to our call, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to you, touch somebody's heart, make a difference in somebody's life on Easter Sunday by donating these products that we need to make the difference in their lives.
This year's Easter Soup Kitchen will take place on March 31 at the A4 Sutherland Park. Some 25,000 people are expected to be attended to by over 600 volunteers.
All right, we'll take a break, but business news is up next. Some representatives from the country's fishermen were today at the Flagstaff House to impress upon government to ensure fishing inputs meant for artisanal fishers get to them on time to prevent an imminent decline in fish stocks. The group of landing beach committees were at the presidency because, according to them, they had been misrepresented by an earlier group which also called on the president.
The fishermen, numbering about 200, said the visit was necessary to redeem their image. They spoke about other challenges hindering their operations.
We further addressed the major problem of intermittent, insufficient flow of premise fuel distribution to motorized canoe fishermen, which had gone a long way to reduce the level of fish basket in the industry. Furthermore, certain absentee fishermen who have styled themselves to be the mouthpiece of the fishers, who are not fishermen, paraded at your office to give false image of fishing industry. The landing beach concept had helped the fishers tremendously, and it is hoped President would support to increase the implementation of the land beach concept. We humbly appeal to the President to come to our aid and ratify the situation for us.
President Mahama assured them government will do more to address the challenges they face. Part of the solutions, he said, was the decision to maintain the price of premixed fuel in the recent hike.
The store has been having some problems. We're having to import the premixed fuel, and that is what creates some shortages sometimes. Sometimes there are technical problems in offloading the ship and so on and so forth. But we're trying to streamline all these things so that the flow of the product will be smoother and you'll be able to get the premix to be able to do your job. We'll continue to use the landing beach committees as the focal point because that is where the fishing activity takes place. And we know before we resorted to the landing beach committee system, we know what used to happen to the premixed fuel. And the point we are making as government is that give the product to the people themselves and let them manage the distribution of the product.
The president said governments will streamline the flow of premixed fuel, but urged them to observe safety precautions in their work to prevent the disasters.
Now, EcoBank is presently the most favorable bank for businesses to secure loans from. That's according to the latest annual percentage rate released by the Bank of Ghana. The rates work out the actual percentage of interest a bank charges on a loan, including some hidden charges. EcoBank offered the lowest lending rate on the market as at January 31. Now, some manufacturers of imported goods are taking proactive steps to deal with the high incidence of counterfeiting on the local market. They are now carrying out a sweep exercise on dealers of their counterfeit products. One of such is PV, a leading global manufacturer and supplier of musical instruments and professional audio equipment. The company today arrested some major distributors of its counterfeit products in a sweep exercise in Accra. Its international sales manager in charge of South America and Africa, Larry Linko, tells Joy Business the exercise has become crucial because of the effect of counterfeiting on their fortunes. Mr. Linko is also appealing to the Customs Excise and Preventive Service to be a bit more vigilant to halt the importation of counterfeit products into the country. Next up, we bring you some smart investment tips.
Time for the very latest in the world of sports. So we'll first of all start with the Black Satellites. And the Black Satellites saved the blushes of soccer fans in the country after they labored to beat Benin 1-0 in their must-win encounter in the ongoing African Youth Championship in Algeria. Ebenezer Esifwa struck his second of the tournament and the only goal of the game in the 55th minute. After losing to Egypt in the opening Group A game, the Satellites badly needed a win to brighten their chances of making it to the next stage of the competition. The Satellites are second on the standings momentarily as they await the result of the Northern African Derby between host Algeria and Egypt tonight. Ghana will play host Algeria in their final group match on Saturday. And it's all about that important World Cup qualifier for the Black Stars, and all 20 players in the Ghana camp took part in the team's first training session today at the Accra Sports Stadium ahead of Sunday's World Cup qualifier against Sudan. Debutant Emmanuel Frimpong allayed his injury concerns as he participated fully in the evening session. The players started out with light jogging before subsequently picking up the pace. Sports Minister Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah was in attendance as he watched his first Black Stars training session since taking office. Players at the first training session included Daniel Ajay, Fatau Dauda, Jonathan Mensah, Yao Frimpong, John Boy, Isaac Vosa, Awal Mohammed, Richard Kisi Boateng, Baba Abdul Rahman, Albert Adoma, Solomon Asante, Rabiu Mohammed, Emmanuel Frimpong, Kwejo Samoa, David Akam, Emmanuel Ajimanbedu, Suleiman Tari, Abdul Majid Waris, Asamoah Jan, and Mahatma Otu. Right, that'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adder Jr. Do have a good night.
Sports was brought to you in
Before we bring you the entertainment news, some breaking news reaching us from the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, about an armed robbery incident. Our correspondent Mohammed Nuruddin joins me on the line right now with the very latest details on that. Good evening to you, Mohammed. What can you tell us about this incident in Kumasi?
Good evening, Israel. About an hour ago, armed robbery incident happened just at Ayija Tech Junction, on a few minutes walk away from Inshira and Lava Fem. Yeah, that's a group of armed robbers. A group of armed robbers numbering about 30 came and then robbed people or their properties and all that. And we understand that several people sustained injuries when they were trying to run away from these armed robbers. I have with me the chairman of the station who just tell us briefly what happened, what actually happened. Good evening, you are welcome to. You are live on Joy News on Moto TV.
Good evening. What actually happened? Okay, what happened is that we are at the station working, and then we had a loud noise coming from the up there, from Aida to Tech Junction. And we were looking at them, and we saw people are running away, coming. We asked them, what's really going on? They said, no. There's an armed robber that's coming to come and rob them. That's why they will run. I said, people see them. They say, yes, they see them coming. Even most of them didn't wear anything. They just wear a short and a singlet, holding their guns and their knives. Some of them are using motorbikes, and they are coming. So you can see everybody is running. Those who are selling this chichinga, those who are selling rice, those who are selling the cooked rice and everything, they all run away and look there so that we see that. We have to also protect our passengers.
We understand there were many. How many were there from?
Oh, there are many. Roughly, there are about 30-something. 30, 35. There are many, because before we realize, some of them are coming from the left hand side, some of them are coming from the right, and then upward. If you really heard that some of them went to this Ganame hostel where the ladies slaves, we went to there before the police are coming, before they also run away and leave them. And then we are here because of that. We also have to protect our passengers. So those who we knew that they are here, they can't run. We let them get to the cab at force. Even if the vehicle is not going to where you are going to, the vehicle have to take you from Tech Junction and take you south, since you are taking you to your town, so that you can also escape from these armed robbers.
Okay, thank you very much. Israel, that was the chairman of the station of Aija Tech. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed Nuruddin. And just to recap for you, the breaking news we're getting is that there's been an armed robbery incident somewhere in Kumasi suburb involving, as you heard from the eyewitness, more than 30 armed robbers. We'll be following up on this particular story for you and whether there's been any arrest made by the police. But if it is indeed confirmed, it must be a pretty serious incident. And next up, we'll bring you showbiz. Now, the much publicized video of Samini's song Body Flame, which features Kaki, is out. Showbiz brings you an exclusive play of the video for the very first time, and you be the judge on the rating for this one. Right, so that's how we wrap up the bulletin for tonight. Before we go, though, a quick run through our headlines. Former Supreme Court Judge Justice Francis Gbega is at the High Court to stop the 2012 NPP flag runner Nana Akufo-Addo from holding himself out as a lawyer because he says he is not. Meanwhile, the Ghana Bar Association has dismissed the claims as untrue. President Mahama's denied report the government will pay for the pilgrimage of 200 Christians to the Holy Land, Israel. There's no resolution to the strike by teachers, which entered day 2 today. And the police have resumed a clampdown on commercial motorbike operators, but hints of attempts by persons in authority to frustrate the operations. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Sergio Lai. Have a good evening.